The next question, jobs, inflation, and the recession. Please share with us the top 3 or 4 policies that you believe will help stabilize our economy, allow for the creation of jobs, and restore pre-recession levels of economic growth and prosperity.
You know, folks, the bottom line, we must stop spending now. We must stop spending now. You know, we have a budget of $3.9 trillion. A third of that, 1.3, is in deficit. We cannot continue on that path. That does not create jobs, that does not create prosperity, and that's going to take our freedoms away. You know, that's equivalent to a family, the average family in America makes $40,000. That's like bringing home $3,300 a month. Okay, but living off $4,400 a month, that's a $1,100 deficit right there. We can't do that. Can you do that in your family? I can't do that in my family. My business has dropped 60%. We couldn't keep spending. We had to stop spending. In fact, my family, you know, we cut out the Disney Channel. We went down to basic cable for Fox. Had to keep Fox on. That was my choice. All right? There we go. We had to go to Walmart. We went shopping. We had to make a cut in our food. You know, I got 3 kids. We love Kraft macaroni and cheese. We no longer buy Kraft macaroni and cheese. We buy the generic macaroni and cheese. We have to do those same kind of things in our families. Our government should work the same way. We must pull back on our budgets. We must make cuts. Also, we need to make the Bush tax cuts permanent. We can do that right now. Right now. That will send a message to our businesses, okay, that will allow them to know what the playing field is. As a business owner, if I know where I can play, I can play. I may go buy that new piece of drain equipment and, delight. Those are my ideas. Thank you.
We have a great time. We've been doing this a lot now across the state, and I sense a kindred spirit among my 2 colleagues and even the other 2 colleagues that are not with us tonight. But Richard answered that question exactly like the other candidates answered the question in the congressional segment. And what I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Cutting spending is not going to revolutionize our economy. That's not the answer. We need to cut spending, but that's not going to put 1 penny back in your pocket. That's how we revolutionize the economy. Now, I want to talk to you about 3 ways that we can get the economy back on track. He did mention one of them. The very first piece of legislation I intend to introduce will be to make the Bush tax cuts permanent. Make them permanent. Do away with the estate tax completely. It's 0 in 2010. Unfortunately, this is a good year to die. That's not a good thing, is it? Especially if you're wealthy. Make the Bush tax cuts permanent. That will be the first piece of legislation I introduce. Piece of legislation number 2 that I will introduce will be to lower the corporate tax rate. You know, we talk about we're in Kokomo, Indiana tonight. We're in a place that's been very hard hit by the loss of manufacturing jobs. Instead of talking about penalizing corporations for moving jobs overseas, why don't we incentivize those corporations for keeping those jobs in the United States of America? We have the 2nd highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world. Let's lower it. Let's lower it to at least, I talked to a CEO the other day who said he believes 20% is a fair corporate tax rate. I think 24 or 25 is doable. Let's do that. The 3rd piece of legislation I will introduce will be to cut the tax on small businesses that will allow them to accelerate amortization of their equipment. It's on a 20-year scale right now. That's ludicrous. Let's drop it to 7. Let's incentivize companies to put people back to work. That's the way you'll revolutionize our economy.
Well, I agree with these gentlemen and their comments. I think that it's important for us, first of all, in Washington, we do have to control spending. We have a $12 trillion debt, and plus we have about $50 trillion or more in liabilities for future Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security spending. We're going to have to control spending. But on top of that, once we get those things in check, let's start rewarding good behavior. If people are going to buy their employees health care benefits, let's reward that with a tax credit. Let's make the tax cuts permanent. Let's start rewarding people when they go out and do the right thing. Let's incentivize and reward that, because too often we reward bad behavior rather than good behavior. Let's also start looking out at our tax code, looking at how the IRS and the loopholes that people have to continually jump through those hoops and manipulate the the tax structure that we have here, let's start looking at a new sort of taxation in this country, one that's consumer spending based, rather than allowing those people who are willing and are able, with enough attorneys and accountants to put that money offshore and keep it tax free. Let's start getting to a fairer tax situation rather than just an income tax based corporate income tax. Let's start looking at a broader tax-based structure. I think that those are the sort of things that will start stimulating our economy, trusting the consumer to get the economy going rather than trusting the government to get the economy going.